Greetings, mortals, and welcome. Please present your tickets for validation. Thank you. Your existence has been acknowledged, and you have been granted access every Thursday and Friday. You will be accompanying your guides, Krista and Brandy, along with a world-renowned guest. They will be exploring an intriguing tendril of what humans refer to as reality each week, as they strive to advance you further down the path to the truths of your physical earth and what lies on the other side. Remember to please keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times, and do not exit until the craft has come to a complete stop.
Hey, welcome. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Woo-hoo. Weekend. Yay.
Yes, I'm still sweating, and I did just, this
We were
weather.
talking about backstage. You sweated your ass off, and I got accused of being a thief, so it's all good.
Yeah. You gotta tell everybody now that you're not a shoplifter.
No, far from it. So I went to Walmart tonight. I had to get groceries, about $112 worth of groceries, and I bought my husband a Blackstone for Father's Day. So it was two separate transactions, two different cards, and paid for everything. Like everything was in bags, whole 9 yards, right? So I'm walking out of the store. Not one, but two MFers come yelling out to me to stop. I had my girls with me. I stopped. He's like, we need to see your receipt. I'm like, oh man, that's where I was just like, I don't know. I was mad. Like, you're accusing me of stealing? Like, all my crap is in bags. And the Blackstone.
Did you have the alarm go off when you left?
No, nothing. No. So Krista had to come apart on the two guys from Walmart. It wasn't even the door greeter guy. It was two younger guys. So I showed them my receipts.
Oh, no.
In the meantime, I'm still I'm F-bombing, telling them to F off because I'm far from a thief. And so I was upset and mad. So to make a long story short, I really embarrassed my girls. But I honestly, I should have just kept walking and let them call the police. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is kind of like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I should have just let them call the police and then, been like, I got you. You had a call for nothing. So I showed them both my receipts, one with the food and one with, and one with the Blackstone. It's just stupid. People, I don't know. You know what? They need to have people at the registers and get rid of the self-checkout. If they're worried about people stealing, get rid of the self-checkouts. That's all I'm saying.
I did read an article about that they're going to start doing that because of theft.
They should. And then, I bought a bag of oranges and they weren't in a bag. I was like, do you want to see my oranges on my receipt right here? I paid for them because they weren't in a bag, Oh, that's bad.
Right. But the thing is that here is just one example of why they're getting ripped off. Because I go through the self-checkout. There are two women, not one. There are two women walking around the self-checkout watching everybody and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
These two women ended up talking to each other more than they did doing their job.
Yeah.
So I could see where that would happen.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. It's just stupid because, I get it. People do steal, they do. However, I know at the self-checkouts, they have cameras right there. They could see that I paid for it, that I did my transactions, that I scanned everything in my freaking cart. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a thief. And that really rubbed me wrong. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying this, and I'm going to say it one time. All these big brand stores, do better.
That's right.
Just do better.
That's right. So that happened to me about an hour ago, everybody. So I'm calming down.
Yeah.
So she's still real mad about it.
I am. My poor girls, though. I'm like, I know I embarrassed you. And Ava's like, yeah, you did.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, Brandy says, yes, do better. And if you notice, I don't know where y'all live, but they got rid of like checkout lanes where you can actually have an actual person at a register.
Right.
Like if you go in, like,
yeah, because they're trying to save money.
Right. Yeah. And listen though, where I go to Myers. There's two main places I go. Is Myers for food and Kroger for food, because sometimes you don't have. It's different.
Right.
So they've cut their checkout aisle in half, as Brandy said, to save money. But then they put in another 20 self-checkouts, which I like the self-checkout. I really do. If I'm not getting a lot. But
if I'm in a hurry.
But hey, listen, every time Dick and Harry now, though, is taking their grocery cart full with $200 of crap to run it. And so it takes down by themselves, especially if you're by yourself, scan it.
Yeah.
Bag. And won't you take it off the bag so it thinks you're stealing. It's just such a cluster.
Right.
It's a cluster.
Right.
I don't know how much money they're actually saving, you guys. People have actually left. I've seen this many times. Left their cartons or their baskets full of groceries, whether it's $20 or $100, don't matter, and walked out the store because they had enough. They didn't want to wait.
Wow.
And now the fast lane, the self-checkout is supposed to be fast. It ain't fast.
No.
Mark Z-Hammer just said 10 items or less. Yes, I agree. Maybe get away with 20, depending how small your items are. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it was
but I will say this. I travel with Krista in a couple, back and forth from St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, Krista, I watched you in the stores we stopped in. Mostly these big gas stations. You kind of look suspicious walking through the aisles. You really do. A little bit.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah. No, just kidding, you guys. She looks just fine. She's fine.
That's funny. Yeah. So anyway, I'm done venting.
Jason Finch said it's his mother's birthday, so tell your mother happy birthday from us here at Blondes and Booze. And
happy birthday, Jason.
Bigfoot Michigan Rob, I'm sure, says happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mrs. Finch. Assuming that's your last name. Assuming that's your last name.
This is funny. Moon at Noon says, I'm still pissed about the 3 years I had in prison for taking 11 items to the 10 items or less lane.
That's one hell of a sentence.
Right? That's hilarious.
Woo!
Yeah.
Boy, I just tell you what, I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to be faster, save money, and
I really believe that they thought I stole something because it wasn't one guy came out, it was two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's why I don't, unless I've only got a few items, I will go to a cashier every time. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the cashier. I like talking to people, as you guys well know by now.
Yeah.
I like chit chat.
I haven't noticed that at all.
What I like to do though is I like to bag my own groceries.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid.
Well,
when you get a guy or girl that will load your bag, which is seldom, it's really flip of the coin. I like doing it myself.
Yeah.
And one time I let this person do it, and I ended up rearranging everything by the time I got it out to the truck because it was all messed up. So I'm like, nope, thank you for the help. Help someone else. I can do it. Don't have to pay me. I'll do it myself. I'll do it for free. I'd rather do it myself.
Well, the other thing is that, and I understand the self-checkout thing too, because I'm seeing more and more videos of people fighting in these stores.
It's turning.
I'm like, Let's just keep these people apart, okay? Let's just keep them apart.
There's road rage on our freeways and highways and interstates.
I know.
I'm going to see you guys mark my words. It said here, spoken by BMR on June 14th at 8:10 p.m. There's going to be a self-checkout road rage meltdown with all these people in these lines. I can see it coming.
Yeah. Yep, pretty much. So anyway, it's just crazy. Brett says, test your pickup lines at the checkout, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Funny.
Okay. Yeah.
Stuff. All right. We're done talking about that.
Everybody knows I don't have any pickup lines. My pickup lines is, hey, you like rocks? I like rocks.
No, I like shiny rocks.
Story.
That's my pickup line.
Brandy's pickup line.
I like to polish some rocks.
It really is. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's hilarious.
Since I met Brandy, I do actually look for rocks. I got a whole stack in my yard. Some are pretty cool, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to send you some pictures, Brando.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. See, that's what I'm telling you. See, I say I like rocks. Do you like rocks? And see what happens? You start collecting.
That's right.
Right. Okay, one more comment on this. Sue G says, next time they stop you at the door, make them go through every single item on the receipt. You know what? Oh. Honestly, they should have. And look, I still got my 2 receipts. One's my grocery. And the other is my little Blackstone right here. Like,
she's still mad about it.
Well, I'd be peed off too.
Yeah. I've never had that happen though. I've never been like accused of being a thief. And that was just like,
There's typically a first sign.
There's
typically a first sign for every single thing that we do in life. Typically, at least one criminal? Thing. I'll plead the fifth. You look like a criminal in the morning when you first wake up.
Well, I agree with you there.
When you go in, and you don't even drink coffee, and you got that big old coffee because you're kind of on edge for whatever the reason.
Yep.
Right. Just on edge.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Well, so anyway, what do we have on tap for tonight?
So we actually have pretty cool. Rob's going to talk about something that happened at his house this past weekend, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And I actually have a viewer send me a messenger. It's been a little while about a Dogman encounter that they had. So we're going to talk about both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll lead off, I guess, to warm up the Dogman story because this one isn't very long. Okay. But I thought it was cool. I told you guys backstage that it makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. For people that have not heard my one encounter or story, whatever experience, I was told one about, how I remember my dad died a few years ago and I was trying to get in communication with them. A couple of years went by, nothing. And then about the flagpole. I'm not going to get into that story again. I found the pin finally, the only pin that he made, and I asked my dad, "Where is this dang pin at?" Found it, the flagpole, got it up. Mm-hmm. So that was the one thing. So, as a lot of people may or may not know, when my dad had passed away, my mom lived by herself for a couple of years, and she was just sad and lonely, and it was like, I don't like Ma, like that, and so I said, Ma, just live with me. And then she's been with me for a couple of years now. And my mom's got her faculty. She drives by herself, goes shopping by herself. She's don't need my assistance for anything. But, I just said, screw it. I'll have Ma over here, live here. And my mom, by the way, this will be another show because my mom told me some stories over the last several months about some weird stuff that she's actually encountered paranormal-wise and ghost-wise, which we can make a show on that, actually.
I was going to say, your mom needs to come on as a guest on brunch or
we won't go that far. But anyway, though, So that's that story. So again, I'm leaving the house. I guess it was Thursday or whatever. Get on the plane and doing my thing. So I got home. When I got home, I think it was Tuesday. I guess
Monday.
Oh, it was my. Oh, thanks. Monday. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So I was talking to my mom just the other day, and she said, "Rob, I gotta tell you something." She goes, I thought I've had some dreams with your dad in the last couple of years, but they weren't all that. They were just kind of grainy and fuzzy. And honestly, thanks, Chaz. And honestly, I've kind of forgot about them a little bit. But she goes, I got a doozy. I got to tell you. I go, okay, well, let me know, Ma. And then she brought up, remember the flagpole with your dad? I go, yeah. She goes, man, my mom just thought that was so great. She goes, I got to tell you, I had this dream. She goes, she says it was like on when you were coming home. I think you were like the night before the day you were coming home. She goes, she had this very vivid dream. And in the dream was my dad. And my dad looked like his normal self in the dream, very, again, vivid. And my mom, the day before, lost her car keys. She didn't lose her car keys, you guys. She misplaced them. And so I'm like, really? You misplaced your keys? She goes, yeah, but hang on a second. I got to tell you this dream I had, very vivid. And in the dream, your dad was telling me you didn't lose your keys. But she says, it wasn't like my keys. He said, you didn't lose your marbles, which I'm thinking was her head. Okay.
Yeah.
So my mom snaps out of the dream, or so she says. I don't know if she's dreaming yet or not, you guys, but she gets up out of her bed. She goes to her dresser drawer, and on top of her dresser drawer, she's got this angel, the sculpture of an angel. It's very cool. I think we got it for her for a Mother's Day a couple of years ago. And she goes, for some reason, I went to grab the angel and move it. She goes, but I couldn't move it. I go, what do you mean you couldn't move it? It slides. I mean, you can pick it up. Yeah, but I couldn't move it. I go, okay, well, continue on. She goes, for whatever the reason, I opened the top drawer of the dresser, and I looked down in it, and there were the car keys. I go, well, Ma, you looking at prior? She goes, yeah, I looked over the house for him. So she says to me, do you think when your dad in that dream was telling me that they're there, you think that he kind of made me go to the angel? And the funny thing, though, when she went and grabbed the angel when it couldn't move, then she looked to the top of the dresser. She went back and put her hand on the angel, and it moved. It moved all over.
Wow.
So she goes, you think that was your dad? I go, hell yeah, it was Dad.
Absolutely.
He wanted you, because she was in sheer panic, I know, after losing the keys. And and then the angel, the dream. I had that. I've never really dreamt like that about my own dad. A couple of times I did. My thing with my dad was, you guys know, I was meditating in my basement. Dad, my last try for this pen, that I found it. And then you guys know about my dreams, how they're very vivid, very real and lifelike, and a lot of times they end up forecasting my future, which they have. You guys know that.
Yep.
So I'm thinking that that same thing happened to my mom in a different way.
Yep.
And I'm thinking that he kept the angel fastened to make her look into the drawer. And once she found the key, she ran and grabbed the angel and moved. I don't know if there's any significance or correlation there, but I do think that the dream, I think my dad probably did speak to her in the dream. I could be crazy, but I think I believe that. I think that happened.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think it did happen. I think it was a way of your dad contacting your mom and be like, hey, I'm still here, like maybe your mom didn't tell you, but maybe she's really been thinking about your dad or missing him, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, May 7th was his birthday, and of course, Father's Day is what, this weekend, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, so.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, something very similar had happened to me. I was getting up and going to work, and I couldn't find my car keys. And I'm running around the house, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late if I don't find these keys. Like right now, I'm gonna be late. Mm-hmm. I heard something in my ear say, "Hey, Brandy, they're on the table."
There you go.
So I went over to the table. There they were.
I got to call my nephew back. He just buzzed in. I got to call him. I'll be back in a second. I got to call him. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, bye.
Okay, bye. See y'all.
Okay, then. Okay, bye.
Goodbye. See you.
That's what my son does too. My son does that to me. Love you. Bye. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Mine too. Love you. Bye.
It's not long and drawn out. It's just love you. Bye.
Yep. That's exactly how maybe it's a boy thing.
It might be. It might be a boy thing for sure. You know, he talks to me rarely. I mean, I do talk to him, but it's his answers are very short, and you know, I think it's just boys.
I would agree with you. That's crazy. Do we want to wait for Rob to come back, or do we want to read that other story? What do you want to do?
We'll wait for Rob. We'll wait. We'll give him a minute or two. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm not waiting any longer because I want to hear it.
Yeah. Kimberly says, no, my girls do the same thing. It's not a boy thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I guess, you know, kids, I guess they're like, you know, I always tell my kids I love them whenever we hang up on the phone, just because, you know, you never know. It could be the last time they hear from you, you know, God forbid. But, so my kids always know, like, they always say it back. And I don't know if it's like just habit because they know, you know.
Yeah. With me and my kids, it's just not a long drawn out thing. It's love you, bye.
Yep. Missy says, my oldest son turned 34 today. My God, makes me feel older than dirt. He also shares a birthday with President Trump, whose birthday is today also. Well, happy birthday to your son, Missy.
Happy birthday.
Yay. Yay. So,
yes, sorry about that. It's my nephew. His mom and dad are in Las Vegas. And good old, good Uncle Rob, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Everything good?
I call him back, you don't answer. So I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, I'm like, okay, whatever. Just I'll text you.
Yep. So anyway, I do believe though that was definitely a message from your dad to your mom.
I think I'm for sure it was. This happened to me before.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I kind of talked to him a little bit through dreams. And you know, my mom's obviously my flesh and blood. Maybe she got the same sort of connection that I do, maybe, perhaps, you know.
I think maybe
she's
got it from her. You got it from her.
Well, yeah, you imagine bloodlines are the same.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all are sitting there talking Chick-fil-A in the chat, and Krista is dieting, and you're not making this easy. Just saying. I love Chick-fil-A.
And they're all talking Chick-fil-A, and I don't have one. I don't have one, so that makes it worse.
Well, I will tell you this about Chick-fil-A, Brandy, to make you feel better, and Krista, you too. I always say I go to Myers, and it's on a hill. The place is called The Hill. I've driven past it, if not a million times, none at all. I always drive past it. And in my entire lifetime since the birth of Chick-fil-A, I've yet to go and have the Chick-fil-A experience. I did buy the Chick-fil-A dressing, and I put it on a burger or something like that. It was terrible. I threw out the bottle.
You know, their Chick-fil-A sauce, you dip their waffle fries in the Chick-fil-A sauce. Oh my God, it is like heaven.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta go for the waffle fries.
Yeah, let's not talk waffle, guys, because the only thing that I'm disappointed in our last trip together was I didn't make it to the Waffle House.
We did not.
Which was like a block away.
No.
We did not.
Yeah, there's a reason why you didn't make it to Waffle House.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk straight or what?
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was
Well, we
it.
didn't have a lot of time to do anything, you guys. You know, we were like busy. If we slept 6 hours for 2 days, that was a lot.
Right.
We were lucky. Yeah, because Tex always had something to do. He's like, oh, we got to do this. We got to do that.
Yeah.
So who ended up at Waffle House by himself?
Tex?
Tex.
You
Because
did?
he wore us out. He wore us out. So we're like, we're done. We're done. We're just done.
On this
And
last
then
trip?
he goes, yeah.
You didn't even bother to call me. I was up. I had to share my room with a couple of dudes. I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
But then
was
again,
Saturday night.
Okay, well.
After somebody asked real quick, Brett asked, what are waffle fries? So what they are, they're basically just like potatoes cut like a waffle. They're like the waffle.
A waffle shape. Like a ice cream, a waffle cone. They kind of look like that, except they got holes in it. It's really good. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah. So anyway, well, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to read this encounter. And I apologize to his name is Jim, and not reading this sooner, because I'm just like, when it comes to Messenger, I am just kind of flighty and I forget that I have them. And then, anyway, so here is this encounter, and then we can talk about it, see what you guys think about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
He said, this was sent to me through Messenger. He says, my name is Jim, and I am a subscriber and have been watching you and Brandy since meeting you at the Dogman conference last year. You were both very nice to me. I don't want to say who I really am. I very rarely comment in anyone's chat. I wanted to tell you and Brandy this because you are both from Missouri. Do what you want with this, but it is 100% true. My Dogman encounter happened in 2015. I live in Fulton, Missouri. I've always loved camping. The smell of trees, the campfire, the stars. It's how I recharged, how I get away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. So when I planned a camping trip with my family to Mountain View, Missouri, I was very excited. My wife, Sarah, our kids, Emily, who was 10 at the time, and James, who was 14 at the time, we packed up our tent and our gear, and we set off early on a Friday morning, hoping to have a 3-day weekend. By the way, these are not their real names. The campsite was perfect. It was among trees, a small stream that ran behind it, and a clearing perfect for a tent and a campfire. We spent the day hiking, fishing, and just enjoying quality time together. Night came, and we sat around the campfire, roasted marshmallows and hot dogs, and telling ghost stories. It was good family time. As we settled in for the night in our tent, we heard a strange noise. At first, I thought it was a raccoon, but then I heard it again, louder and closer. It sounded like someone was walking through the underbrush, heavy footsteps, crunching leaves and snapping twigs. I told Sarah and the kids to stay put and I'd check it out. I grabbed my flashlight. I hopped out of the tent. I walked towards the noise. The beam of light cut through the darkness, illuminating trees and bushes. Suddenly, the footsteps stopped. An eerie silence fell over the forest. I stood there, frozen, my heart pounding in my chest. And then I saw it. At first, it was just a shadow, a dark figure standing just beyond the reach of my flashlight. But as I watched, it moved closer, stepping into the light. It was tall, easily over 7 feet, and built like a man. Its color looked to be black as black gets, so black it almost appeared to be glowing in the dark. Its eyes glowed with a yellow-greenish color. Its head looked like a dog, long snout and pointed upright ears. I was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or speak. What the F was I seeing? The creature moved closer, its eyes fixed on me. I could see its mouth open, revealing razor-sharp teeth. A growl came from it, making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It smiled at me. Yes, I said smiled at me. And then it just vanished. One moment it was there, the next it wasn't. It was just gone. I went back to my campsite, my mind racing. I didn't say anything to Sarah and the kids, I didn't want to scare them, but I told them to help pack up the gear, and we were leaving. This was about 11 p.m. at night. They didn't question me, sensing something was wrong. The drive home was silent. The only sound was the hum of the tires on the pavement. Weeks later, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I kept looking over my shoulder, expecting to see the creature lurking in the shadows. Shortly after the encounter, strange things started happening in my house. Doors would slam shut on their own, and I'd hear whispers when no one was around. I saw movement out of the corner of my eye, the creature's glowing eyes watching me. I tried to ignore it, but I couldn't shake the feeling of dread that came over me. I did not sleep peacefully for a couple of years after that night, my mind replaying the image of the creature over and over. All I can think of is what I saw was a Dogman that night. I knew that the creature had followed us home. It had found us, and it wasn't going to leave me alone. I was consumed by fear. I was always on edge, waiting for the creature to strike. One night, I had a nightmare. The creature, Dogman, whatever you want to call it, was standing in my bedroom. Its eyes glowed in the dark, and I could see its hot breath in the cold air. I tried to scream, but my voice was caught in my throat. I tried to move, and I could not. The creature reached out a long, bony hand and touched my face, and then everything went black. When I came to, Sarah was shaking me awake. It was morning, the sun coming through the window. I had this exact same nightmare at least 6 more times. This Dogman creature was haunting me. I was at my breaking point. I couldn't take the constant fear, the feeling of being watched. I didn't know what to do. My life drastically changed after that night. I wouldn't let my kids be outside. I wouldn't let the dog go out by himself. I drove my kids to and from school every single day. I started seeing a therapist after a couple years. I suffer from PTSD. I'm not sure she believes me what I saw that night, but I do believe she believes I saw something. Looking back, I realize how lucky I was. The creature could have killed me at any moment, but it didn't. It just haunted me and hunted me and terrorized me. In the end, it vanished. I'll never know why it chose me, why it haunted me, and I'll never even know why it just left. But I'm glad it's over, and I'm glad I can finally live in peace. I have been camping since. I still enjoy the outdoors, but now I'm always on edge, always looking over my shoulder. I will never go without carrying a gun. The creature may be gone, but I'll never forget the fear it instilled me. I'll always be looking for it, waiting for the strike again, and that's the scariest part of all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
First of all, I just want to say that Mountain View is about 70 miles from where we had our Bigfoot encounter.
Yes, it is.
70 miles.
Less than that. If not less than that.
So,
yeah. I know, right? It's like, I read that and I'm like, holy shit, like, so I have since messaged.
I don't really know. I don't
tonight. So if you are in chat, Jim, thank you so much for entrusting Brandy and I with this encounter. Cause yeah, it's just crazy.
Well, I'm thinking about this now. Now we've talked about Dogman and all theories, including being demonic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that may be a possibility because it was haunting?
That's what I'm wondering.
Him, basically, like it was in his home. It was doing strange things.
What I'm wondering.
We always talk about this, you guys. Demonic versus whatever. I know one thing, and I can't speak as fact. You guys have heard the stories. I've done the stories. You guys have done the stories. We've had people on the shows numerous times. The one thing for certain about Dogman, the Dogman entity, it likes to scare us and get in our minds, our thoughts, our dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Is that demonic? I'm not going to say it's a demon, although, don't get me wrong, I'm certainly sure that there are, okay? I think, it comes to that point where you got to take a look back. Is this demonic, or is this just another a-hole Dogman creature that loves to scare the crap out of us?
Right. And here's the thing. Flesh and blood don't come into your dreams.
No.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
I didn't think they would.
See, and then he was talking about
6 times he's had the exact same dream. That creature, that Dogman, effed with him. That's all it was doing.
Oh, it did.
See, to have a recurring dream, I mean, could it be PTSD that have caused that? Sure. Maybe. He's just reliving it. He's just reliving
that. So,
I mean, there's that. But then he said that strange thing started happening in his house.
Ghost-like.
That's where I'm getting sidetracked, I guess, because I'm not understanding. Okay, so if we're talking something more on the living realm, like flesh and blood, it wouldn't be doing that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Okay. This is bringing a whole lot of questions to me. This is bringing so many questions. I mean, because, if it wasn't the Dogman that was demonic or ghost-like or whatever, could something be following it?
Right.
Just because of its whole demeanor.
Mm-hmm.
It's feeding off of it.
And you mentioned, Krista, in the story, the encounter, he's seen it at the cemetery, right?
There's no cemetery.
Right.
What are you talking about?
I thought you said cemetery in there somewhere. I might have been listening at the back door.
No, there's no cemetery in this encounter.
Oh, no, but we've talked about them being seen in cemeteries.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was listening to something else. I missed part of that. So, and do you think there's something? Okay, we had this encounter, this experience. If there was something attached to him after having this encounter, which fed on his mental psyche, right?
Right.
To torment the guy.
Yeah.
You know?
If it was just not straight up PTSD. I mean, because they do have parts where people hallucinate and things like that from PTSD, which.
It's a great point too, because Brandy, I always tell people I suffer from PTSD with my encounter, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I just, because I frankly don't know the true definition of it. Because when I had my encounter, I never dreamed my encounter ever, not once.
Mm-hmm. No, not at all.
Not like a flashback. I mean, I was never.
I don't believe everybody does, but I have heard where people do. After they go through something traumatic like this, that, Dogman and even Bigfoot, you've heard of people having dreams.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think this is my opinion of this whole encounter. And once again, Jim, I apologize for not putting this out here sooner.
I mean, this one raises a lot of questions because you're talking about a lot of things that we talk about separately. We don't talk about them together.
But it ties everything in together. That's what
it just brings it all in.
Holy crap.
So, man, that would be scary. Because I'm thinking, well, if a bad spirit of sorts was following these things, and he had, this Dogman had scared this man so bad. Can you imagine what energy was coming off of that man?
Yeah.
And that a spirit's going to jump right on that because that's their source.
Yeah.
That's their source of living basically for them.
Right. Real quick. Missy says, so this Dogman had a demonic attachment that followed it and it happened to attach this person. No. So what I believe what happened, I do believe he saw a Dogman 100%. But I guess what we're debating now and talking about, some people think they're Nephilim. Some people think, that they're demonic. Some people, believe they're flesh and blood. And this is kind of what we're talking about. The Dogman didn't have an attachment. Maybe the Dogman wasn't really a Dogman. Maybe it was a demonic type entity.
Right. Or maybe it had some entity following it, which attached itself to the man himself because of the energy he put off.
I don't know.
See, this is where it gets really.
Yeah.
But these are encounter stories that you can't say these things are just flesh and blood. You can't.
No.
There's something more to it, but what? I can't put my finger on it. But we've always talked about Dogman being around cemeteries. We talked about hellhounds and their association and blah, blah, blah. I mean, we've done all this. But what is that exactly?
Do you think, too, you guys, we've had conversations about this, too. Do you think that after this guy's experience, it's ingrained in his head and he can't stop thinking about it, right? wondering what it was to an extent. And we always talk about, do you think when you think about something so much, you manifest other things that aren't even related?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've wondered that a lot of times, because we do talk about certain things, at length all the time. I mean, we talk about monsters. That's what we do.
Right.
Could we possibly manifest these things when we're out there doing our own investigations? I think it's possible.
Right. Yeah, I do too.
Do you think it's possible that even like you guys, any of us have tapped into another realm that knows our business and they like to play games and trick us? Maybe not us guys as a group in general, but other people. I think that might be entirely possible.
Maybe.
I think it's very easy for certain things to enter your dreams. I mean, I've had nice things happen to me for the most part, my dreams, with the exception of other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think that there's a different plane? You think when we dream, we leave our body going to a different plane, I imagine. That's got to be probably something with dreams.
Right.
I don't know. What Keith is saying here is demons will mimic children. Demons will mimic anything that you find acceptable, easy on your soul, things like that you're not scared of. They will mimic any of that. But I wasn't saying that it was necessarily demonic following the Dogman. I'm thinking it's something something like a ghost type spirit that could be just tagging along. I mean, they tag along with us. Why couldn't they tag along with other things?
Right.
So it is interesting. It is already scary enough, but it also produces responses which emits energy, and I'm sorry, but when you're full of, you just have this terror, that's energy. You're giving off that energy like nobody's business.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what we're talking about, and I love those questions because it makes me question everything I think about. It makes me open my eyes to another side of everything, or try to figure out an explanation to it. Not that we'll ever find out, not in our lifetime. I don't think, but it's nice to try.
Yeah.
And make it make sense.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Excuse me. We've always tried to make sense, and I'm not getting into the story. The three of us have talked about it ad nauseum, but for the people that aren't listening, just the other day or whatever it was, remember the story I did about the demonic dog man with that preacher man with the white German Shepherd coming in the window?
Yes.
Was our hands down agreement on that particular dog man case demonic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was clear cut, I think, in my mind. That was in everybody's dreams, wasn't it? If we look back and recall.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I would think so. Now, we all know demonic spirits are rare, and I mean very rare. They're not around every corner. Not everybody has a demonic spirit. Not everybody has, they don't. It's just very, very rare that you run across this.
I think it's
rare.
But it
does happen.
You guys know better than I, of course. You guys have been doing way longer than I have. But I think the one common element in that particular story was feeding upon the weak, right? There are a lot of poverty-stricken, probably a lot of drug, alcohol abuse, a lot of minds that were just like wandering.
Hey, there's a lot of nasty spirits out there that are not demonic, but they're just nasty spirits, and they will do the same thing.
That's a great thing. That's a nasty spirit does not have to be demonic. I like that. That clears that up.
And they don't mimic. They don't do anything. They're just plain out nasty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean.
So it's not always demons, everybody. It's just something.
Yeah. Yeah. I run into more nasty spirits. Trust me. Yeah. There's a bunch out there.
You can get some old man who hated his life. He just wants to come back and haunt people because he hated his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very well could be. Yeah.
Yeah. Very well. Like I said, it's just hard to say with that story because there's so much in it. There's a lot to process.
Yeah.
And I can't make it make sense. I can't.
Mm-mm. No, it's just weird. I'm just telling you guys, that was weird.
I liked it. I think it's a great
I
story.
wish, once again, I apologize, Jim, for not coming out and.
I'm going to have to say this sounds like this. This is the first time I've ever heard a story where they had a Dogman encounter and then it turned into an all-out haunting
ghost. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm having,
Werewolf says I get the creeps in the woods around Mountain View. It is weird out there. It really is. That area too is not far from, just throwing it out there, Marley Woods either. And that's Missouri's version of Skinwalker Ranch. So, yeah.
Very strange.
Yep. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Just trying to read.
I don't know. I just don't know. I can't put my head around that story. I mean, could it have happened? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, we've got to go back to the human factor. Is it this man who had the Dogman encounter, but yet was suffering from PTSD and everything after the fact was just from that? There's just side effects.
And I guess too, with certain people, especially you hear stories about the guys in the last several wars, or maybe the Vietnam War, you hear a lot about, where these guys think they're actually back in the war, actually active in the war, still fighting.
Yep.
And they wake up just screaming bloody murder because of the terrible accounts that they came across.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
I mean, you just can do it. Something as simple as you had a bug crawl on you, okay, and you flick it off, and you're doing this thing, and I hate bugs. Just trust me, I hate bugs. Anyway, and then next thing you know, you feel like you got bugs all over you.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing. It's.
I did find this out because I messaged him and I told him that we were gonna put it out there tonight on the show. So he did tell me it was a private campground, and I do have the name of the campground. So Brandy, you want to go camping? But it's a regular campground. It's a privately owned campground in Mountain View.
It doesn't bother me. I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that. It don't bother me at all. We go to the places where all these things happen. So it's fine. Yeah. Just another place to go. I mean, I think that more of these types of sightings and things are going to be happening. I would agree. Just for the pure fact is that their environment, their whole area is growing smaller as the human population grows bigger. And as we keep branching out, there's going to be more and more. I don't think it's anything like the veil is thinning. I don't think anything like that. I think it's just the human population is growing so large that it's just shrinking their places to hide.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. I also think there's more and more people out looking for certain, or more aware, I should say. Maybe not looking, but more aware for shows like this, right? About, well, maybe there is something out there. So they might be lurking, and they might come across something because maybe they get something from these shows and know what to look for sometimes. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Hell, I don't know how I came across Mike. I never thought about Bigfoot like we do today. And then I saw this, this creature,
Yeah.
That brings me to another point. I wonder if that's why the powers that be, let's just go with that, the powers that be set aside all these millions of acres for national forests and what have you. Just because they know what our population is doing and they know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
And heck, we're invading those too. So I don't know.
We are invading it, but then again, I gotta tell you guys, there's over 1 billion. I just looked it up because we all do research, on the side of learn more, right?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta tell you, I can't believe there's over a billion. I don't know what the square acres is, but I know it's like a billion. I guess it was acres. Might have been acres of uncharted territory in our national forest alone. Of not where man has not stepped foot in. Just too dense, too thick. Don't go there. Too far off the beaten path. Yeah, maybe a group of Army Rangers might plow their way through with their equipment. But there's so much out there that is getting deeper and deeper in the forest as well. There's so much hidden mysteries about Alaska, the vast land of Alaska. I bet you that's loaded with all the things we talk about.
Yeah. Alaska? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I would love to go and then check all that stuff out, but it is so remote. If something happens
yeah, right. I mean, we'd have to spend $1,000 in a rescue equipment and electronics to have on our person, like a beacon in case we got lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy. Think about it. I mean,
you'd have to have a recovery beacon for sure. You know what I mean?
We're no frontiersmen that know our way in Alaska, let alone our own backyard sometimes.
No. No.
I can read a compass, but from what I hear,
can you read a compass though when it's electronically screwed up by some sort of force field or
that's what I was getting ready to say. When you have some kind of electrical interference or static interference, it's not going to work. Or magnetic. There you go. There's another one. It won't help us out at all. We'll just have to follow the sun.
Well, but now let's dust off our maps. Which we don't need a map for anything anymore, right?
Right.
Maybe a
I'm
topography.
like, do they make those anymore?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. You can probably get it on Amazon. Or at least a topography map. But now they got those for your phone.
Yeah.
And now you can take a drone and scan the topography and it sends you a pretty picture where you can see distinctly where you need to go.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Paranormal Paul says, I know a pilot that can fly us around in Alaska.
Hey, I would just like to take a flight around, in a small plane just to look. I would love to do that. Because there have been sightings in the mountains and things like that where they're seeing out in the open these things walking, Bigfoot, they're just seeing, they're just walking. Yeah. I'm like, I would love to see that.
Right.
I wouldn't even mind taking there goes Randy. I wouldn't mind doing an Alaskan cruise. I'm not big on cruises. Huh?
Things I could do. I don't fly though.
I know you don't.
Hate them.
Yeah, we were just saying, even an Alaskan cruise. I'm not big on cruises. I done there, been there. But an Alaskan cruise, if a port of stop was like Portlock for 24 hours, I could see us game to do that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you went to Portlock, would you leave the beach?
It'd be cold as hell, probably, Brandy. I don't like,
Well, you go in the summer, goofball.
It's not that hot there in the summer.
Well, it's not -30 in the
Would
summer.
I leave the Portlock beach? It just depends. I'd probably have to go on the beach for a couple hours, get a little sun in, then we can go off into the woods.
Get a little sun in.
Yeah, that would be a little cold. Yeah. I don't know. I would be. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I would leave the beach.
Oh, come on. If we all were there, you would.
We would.
If there was like 5 of us, we'd do it. I would chain us all at the waist
it took
together.
out villagers, for God's sakes. It took out villagers.
They took out villagers.
They weren't prepared. I don't know. They would pack in probably.
Hey, did you ever?
You would be prepared.
Hey, the guys on Alaskan Killer Bigfoot are still alive, and they're in Portlock.
There you go.
Old Ron Moorhead went there. He made it.
Right.
He flew in a helicopter.
No, Ron Moorhead didn't get off the beach, according to the TV shows.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he did. Well, when they saw him hike up to that tree, it was like 50 yards in.
Yeah. I'm just teasing.
But I don't know. I guess I would. I guess I would just so I could go see it. Go see all the stuff that we saw, that the artifacts and things that they were finding. I would for that, I guess. But I'd be very particular.
Yeah. Well, Missy, I saw a book a cruise Alaska. If we all got together, a whole bunch of people, I don't know if I get off the ship. I'd have a drink in one hand and be having too much fun with all the people.
Yeah. John says, why dance with the devil? That's a good question too,
Oh, yeah, John.
That is true. That is true.
John always has common sense in his comments.
Yeah.
Missy said, okay, let's all book a cruise to Alaska. Right on, sister. I'm ready. I would do it. I honestly, I wouldn't charge like an extra $1,000 to watch a speaker or anything. I'd be like, okay, let's all go and do this investigation. Let's all,
let's all, we're
all broke.
We're all broke after our tickets for the cruise.
Right.
Yeah, we're all broke. So, hey, we're not going to pay any more extra money. We're just going to go out there and do this together and hope for the best.
Right. That's true.
So I guess anybody out there, we need a good travel agent now, I guess.
Yeah. Anybody who knows a travel agent, contact blondesandbooze@gmail.com.
Yeah, I know. Because I looked into some of these guys who take these, they do these cruises and things to Alaska, and they do all this cryptid. I couldn't even begin to afford that.
Yeah.
So that would be a no for me.
Yeah. Although, I know all three of us here we're all fans of Small Town Monsters, and Alex Petticoff did the part with Alaska. Even if you're not a believer in Bigfoot, just the scenery alone in those films
is just amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
I will say this. Great point, Krista, because I want to go to Alaska, if not to investigate or be creeped out, just to see the beauty of Alaska, because the films that he's done are breathtaking, and I got to see that in my lifetime. I got to.
Yeah.
If it means saving $20 a month for the next 5 years, I want to do it.
Yeah. I've seen some pretty breathtaking things in my life, including the Swiss Alps. And it's still not enough. I want to see it all.
Yeah.
So I get it. Yeah. I get it.
I actually want to go through an actual mountain range that's not called Alabama, which we know are just rolling hills, as I was told.
Well, Rob, you kind of have to get in your vehicle, put gas in it, and go.
Well, yeah, I know, Brandy. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could drive to Tennessee, get in them Smoky Mountains.
Oh, that's not far. 4 hours. 6, maybe. 7, I don't know. Thank you, Brandy.
Tend to be safe.
Thanks, Brandy, yeah.
Oh, no, I mean, but it's just breathtaking. It's beautiful, and it's, I don't know. I guess for me, that's what I love to, with even going ghost hunting and all that stuff that I do, it's looking at these buildings and just thinking, oh my gosh, look at this building. Look at how beautiful it is. Look at the history behind it. Yeah. And then, it's like you kind of have to have that imagination to see it all in its grandeur, the way it used to look that when it was first built. And I'm telling you, get out there. Let's do it. Let's book a cruise. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. The people are talking about the Smoky Mountains too. Smoky Mountains are beautiful. I was there just a couple years ago.
They are. Yes, they are.
Yes.
That's the most reasonable one, I think, to get to. Is close by everybody. I mean, centrally located, I guess.
I think like where we were, like the Appalachians, I think the highest peak is like 6,000, above in elevation. The Smoky Mountains, where I was 2 years ago, I was out in Crested Butte, Colorado, and the elevation for town was like 9,500. And then you go up on the peak to the Crested Butte, and it's 14,000.
And I used to live in Colorado Springs. I lived right there with it. So I used to wake up and see that every day.
Okay, I got to ask you, Brandy. Colorado Springs. I want this from you. One of my favorite shows I used to watch, I also do kind of like the murder stories, investigations. I was watching this guy, Joe Kenda, Colorado Springs homicide. He's a homicide hunter. His name's Joe Kenda out of Colorado Springs. Yeah. And everything is out of Colorado Springs. And every time I watch the show, I mean, it's like murder all over the place. Now, when is that like a big, is that like the top 10 for murder? Because every murder is out of there, it seems.
You know, when I was there, you didn't hear a lot about murders. I mean, it did happen.
Yeah, it happens everywhere. I get it, but
you have a bunch. You have military bases there. So I mean, they maintain a
I tell you what,
level community.
Lock and step with the military bases. One of the shows was an Army officer and a non-military, like an officer, and then an enlisted person. Like him and a lady fell in love. Both were married. Invited their spouses to the base and murdered them. So it was even at that level of our own military. But it was just always a crazy show. I'm like, man, do I really want to go to Colorado Springs? Oh, well, now I know. Now you've been there.
Well, I went to Manitou,
right,
which is right outside of
Manitou Springs.
Yeah, I went there. I spent.
Yeah, Manitou Springs is nice.
Yeah, Kathy's sister lives there, and we spent 2 nights there at her house, and went on to Crested Butte. And then and
I mean, but you got to understand that these mountains are so high that they get to a point where the air's too thin and the vegetation stops.
Yes,
there's just no vegetation. It's all rocks.
Mountains were. It was. Yeah, there's no trees. There was nothing, and even this was August. We were there, and it was there were snow capped, which was really cool.
Yeah, I remember I moved there and I was pregnant with my first child, my daughter. And my husband at the time was in the military. Now check this out. So I had to go on the Air Force Academy. I had to go to the Air Force Academy because that's where the hospital was. I am trying to just walk from the parking lot to inside the hospital. And I had to sit down 3 times because I could not breathe when I first got there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not too far up there, but it's up there. I mean, you're short of breath, and then try to be pregnant. It just doesn't work. I had to sit down.
For me, since we stayed in Manitou a couple nights, it kind of like let ours chill out. Get used to that elevation before climbing up even higher. So that really, really honestly helped us. Yeah. Fortunately, none of us got sick.
No. As soon as I got to Colorado, I think the very next week, matter of fact, we were staying in a hotel waiting for our house to be available. And we had to stay in the hotel for like 3 weeks or something like that. So I immediately when I got there, had to go start seeing them doctors, and I was not used to it. And I had to walk, and I couldn't breathe. Wow. just forget it.
Yankee Watchdog says he lives at 9,000 feet. He said he was 90 miles south of Crested Butte. So that's really cool.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, now I could see that some cryptids would live at that height.
Yeah.
But I don't see a whole lot. I mean, because, like I said, there's no vegetation. There's no place for them to hide.
Yeah.
So I would think you would see them in lower elevations.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would definitely agree with you. So like going through, I don't know, Smoky Mountains, wherever we were this past weekend, I mean, that's pretty thick. That is forested. I could see where all these creatures could live out there.
You'd never know they were there.
Vegetation, Oh, no, you wouldn't. Yeah.
No.
Well, hell, you guys also have the Ozarks.
Mm-hmm.
which is
we
supposed to be
do.
a very creepy.
Yeah, and that's
part.
similar to like the Smokies and all of
Oh,
that.
is it?
Very similar.
Well, yeah, the Mark Twain National Forest too.
Yeah, I hear that's
You just get
creepy.
you just get a little bit north of me, and then the hills start rolling in. And that's heavily, that's got a lot of vegetation. I mean, thick stuff.
Yeah.
So I could see where things could hide, and you'd never even know.
Right, absolutely.
yeah.
So Yankee Dog says, "Ha, wrong, Brandy. We get Bigfoot sightings a time or two. So even the higher elevation, you get them."
Well, they had that one story. Remember, Krista, when we were talking about that one story where the guy had seen something at the top of the mountain, and the next thing you know, he was visited by the 3-letter agencies, and the next thing you know, he disappeared. Do you remember seeing that video of the thing that he saw at the top of that? I don't know what it was. I don't know if that was what we would consider Nephilim, or if that was Bigfoot, or one and the same. I don't know. But that didn't have any vegetation up there either.
No.
Yeah.
Which is
I don't remember.
And maybe they are up on these higher levels. However, maybe like they sleep.
Yeah. I will say this. I know you want to say some Brandy, or it was Chris, but I will say this though. There's a channel I watch, Rocky Mountain Sasquatch or something like that, and this guy just investigates the Rocky Mountains. Montana, Utah, Idaho, that whole range.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
And he gets up to 10, 12,000 feet elevation. But as we all know, though, there's forests all around the mountains. And that's where he does all, like Missoula was a very popular place he talks about. A lot of these familiar researchers, a lot of them have passed on, but they were all from the Rocky Mountains. Just like, hey, Ron Moore Sierra Nevada mountains, Bigfoot, so I'm sure they're definitely in the mountains. But it's got to be in an area like Brandy's saying, Chris is saying, where there's vegetation, there's the forest, there's green, it gets sunlight,
water.
There's got to be a food source.
Rolling mountain streams, a place where people hunt because there'll be deer and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, and the mountains would be a great spot for Bigfoot to hang out and hide.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and see, I'm thinking we're missing a lot when we don't talk about Montana and Wyoming and things like that. I think what was it, Krista? We got to talk, and I think it was Montana or Wyoming. It was one of those, but one of those states has the least amount of population than any other state.
We were talking about that, and I think it was what was it?
Was it Wyoming? I think it was Wyoming.
Wyoming, I think, is less popular than Montana. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not factual with that, but I think it might be Wyoming.
Yeah.
Well, because we were talking about the fact that there is nobody lives there really, but yet it costs more than any other state to just survive.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Montana is for sure, because Montana's barren too.
Yeah, I'm Googling.
Montana's got a lot of forests.
Is it? It's Wyoming.
Yep. Wyoming, Vermont, Alaska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Delaware, Montana, and then Rhode Island.
Yeah, well, I could see the small eastern, northeastern states. I could see that because they're just small. They don't have enough room to hold more people. But out there in the west, there's a lot of land, but you can't afford to live there. Yeah. But I think we're missing a lot of maybe some cryptid evidence that we're just not getting to because nobody's going there or nobody's doing that there.
Yeah.
Because there's not people there. It's just not.
And this is just off the topic for just 20 seconds because you brought it up, Brandy, about the cost of living in, like, let's say, California. I was listening to one of my favorite radio shows yesterday morning. It was, and this guy got a big promotion to move from Michigan to California, and they were to triple his salary to cover the cost of living, and they paid for him to spend 2 weeks down there to look for a house. Yeah. So the guy came on the radio and said he didn't take the job. I mean, the money was like $400,000 a year,
Mm-hmm.
in California. So gets back, he had to turn the job down because he found a house. Listen, he was house shopping forever. He found a house with two bedrooms, guys, 1.5 baths on a 90 by 90 lot in California, 5 minutes from his house. If he were to buy it, which would take him an hour to get to work with the traffic. Another reason not to go there. 5-minute travel takes you an hour because of traffic. $1.2 million.
Wow.
What I just described to you guys. He goes, even on that sale, number one, I ain't spend that type of money. And you put two and together. I mean, nice place to visit. I would never live there. Pay me $10 million a year. I wouldn't move there.
Say like these people in Wyoming, okay? It's not very populated. There's not very many. What do they do for a living to be able to afford to live there?
Yeah,
and how far do they drive to go to work?
Well, cattle. Is that a big market? Big money? I don't
know.
No,
it's something other than that. I mean, people go there and they live in campers and things like that to work there. And I can't remember the industry off the top of my head.
Are they textile? Are they high tech like California? Because all California is high tech. Everyone thinks Hollywood. California is tech.
Yeah.
No.
I can't think what Montana would be.
This is blue collar. It is blue collar.
Okay.
I don't know. I just, like what are these? Well, Spillin says, they're rich to begin with, own companies and stuff. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe a lot of them are oil barons. Oil probably.
I think it's oil fields is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're working on the pipelines and all kinds of stuff up and through there.
Same in Wyoming, probably.
Rock and Rory says a lot of mining out there.
Okay.
That could be possibly true. Like I said, it's all blue collar, whatever it is. Like I said, people go there and they live in campers because they can't afford to live in an apartment or buy a house or anything like that. And like I said, because we don't have a big population there, I'm thinking that's why we're not seeing as many cryptid or I should say Bigfoot sightings. I mean, because their numbers, according to the reports, are lower than most states around them. I mean,
yeah,
I'm like, well, it's got to be because of that.
If there's less sightings of these Bigfoot or Dogman or whatever, it's because there's less people. So there's not people out there to see them to report them.
I'd be willing to bet. I'd be willing to bet too that maybe the people that live in like Montana, Wyoming, maybe a lot of them see these cryptids or Bigfoot, and they don't give a crap. They're not going to report them. Well, I saw Bigfoot. Who cares?
Yeah. So Werewolf says it's tourism, agriculture, ranch, oil, mining,
oil. Yeah, there you go. Like I said, it's all blue collar. I knew that. I just couldn't remember. I mean, because these are the crazy things that Krista and I talk about when we're on long trips together.
Yeah. Weird, weird stuff.
We're on a fact-finding mission. We talk about weird stuff,
So
it's like
Google.
Right. It's kind of like, why do we see Bigfoot in Montana or Wyoming? Well, let's look it up. Well, the population is not real high of humans, so there's probably a reason.
Yeah. It is. It's really crazy. And like, you would think the cost of living would be cheaper though. But
you would think. It's the exact opposite because the ground is rich in minerals, oil, all kinds of things. So you virtually can't buy any property without spending a lot of money.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of tourists.
Yeah, but I think that over here in Missouri, like I said, we were talking about earlier about, I don't think the veil is thinning or anything like that, or why we're seeing this stuff. I think we're just getting more populated.
Yeah, I would agree. And the cost of living here is actually relatively cheap.
It's relatively cheap. I mean, Arkansas is even better, but Missouri's not too bad.
No, like here you can buy a nice, new 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a basement, a garage for, I don't know, probably what, 250,000, 300,000.
Yeah, that's nothing special, but it's nice.
Which isn't terrible because like the same house in like California, is $1 million.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So it's just crazy.
But I've been, the funny thing is I got on this site on Facebook, and it's about historical houses, and they do sell them quite a bit. They do change hands quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking at them, and they have all these pictures, and they tell you the square footage and how much they are. Some of these are going at a really decent price. And I'm like,
wow.
Why is that?
Right.
It's because they need to be updated. All the electrical, all that stuff. Once you get into looking at that, the plumbing, you're like, oh, that's why it's so cheap. Okay. It's a beautiful house, but
another $100,000.
Yeah.
Right. It's a beautiful house, but but some of them are just absolutely gorgeous. And you can tell by the region of how much it's going to cost. Like in the Midwest region, like where we're at here, you're going to find them between $200,000 and $500,000. But then you go either east or west, and it's like $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. Some are up to $7 and $8 million for these historical homes.
Right.
Yep.
Well, William says in Kentucky.
And then I'm like, are they haunted? Are they haunted?
Right. William says in Kentucky, you can get the same house for half of what I said. And, and that's the thing, too. I just said for what I said. I live in a suburb outside of St. Louis. And the county that I live in, I am not rich by any means, not even close. However, it's the highest taxed rate in the state of Missouri. And so I am surrounded by rich people. And Brandy and Rob have both been to my house, and they've seen that. I'm not, though. And that's why, like, the houses, when I said, $250,000 to $300,000 in my area. Now, that same house down in Brandy's area might be like $200,000. So, yeah.
In my area,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because there's nobody down here.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody here.
I could see why there's nobody down there when we rolled through your town.
Yeah, you were close. You were very close.
We're on the outskirts.
You're about 50 miles from me. Yeah.
Yeah. When we drove to Alabama, I think we drove through like your county. Maybe it was. I don't know.
No, you went through Sykeston. You went through Sykeston, which is probably about 50 miles from me.
I can't believe how flat it got.
Remember when I said something about the home of the throwed rolls? That was when we were closer to Brandy's house.
Yeah, Lambert's Cafe. Yes.
Yeah, I remember seeing
where they throw your food at you.
Yeah, she was saying. Yeah, we had that discussion. Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
They really do for your rolls.
I wouldn't mind gunning some rolls as some patrons.
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, they throw rolls at you. They could end up in your water. They could have been on the floor. They could hit your neighbor. Who knows? They're just going to throw you another one.
Yeah, they'll throw you another one. You don't have
Brandy,
to
Brandy, Krista knows my type of bar. I like the seedier bars, kind of dumpy. I like the bar that we went to, Krista. That was with that wasn't dumpy, but it was kind of cool. Yeah, it was sweet.
Brandy, you've been there. I took you there.
I liked the outside. I liked the vibe there. It was pretty cool. It was I liked that. That was pretty neat. I liked that.
Yeah, it's just a little local.
Right. That's me. That's me all night long. Listen to the band at night in the background.
Yep.
Yeah. Devin said he's in my area. Yes, he absolutely is.
Yep.
Okay, Devin.
Very cool. Very, very cool. This has been fun, guys.
Yeah, Paranormal Paul said that was a very cool bar. Yeah.
Yeah, Paranormal Paul came and met us over there.
I have to say I was a little bit jealous. I was like, carry him at home.
Yeah, we'll have to reschedule.
We'll have to make the logistics a little more better. That's all.
Yeah. Right. Guys, we are kind of talking amongst ourselves of doing a big event next year. So
yeah, we are.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we should do a poll kind of if what state would be best
for everybody.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah.
So do we tell them a little more what we're wanting to do, maybe? Well, okay, we'll tell you guys. We're talking about possibly doing a conference next year. And we were thinking somewhere around the Midwest where it's kind of centrally located, where people from all parts of the country could come. So comment where you guys think the best place to be.
We should do too.
Well, we were talking about also about, like a good sized airport and things to do and stuff like that. So we got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I got, nice, restaurants, bars, and then maybe it's in the woods somewhere. If we extended it out, we could all have a little excursion out in the forest or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great, I think that on my channel and your guys' channel, I'll get with Tex to Tex. Mm-hmm. We should do a poll on each of our channels and say, hey, states you'd be willing to travel to or could travel
be willing to travel to.
Yeah, just feel we could put teasers out there because if we start doing this, we're gonna do it right. Like we know how to do things right. Yes. So we're gonna have to start planning this before the summer ends. You guys know that.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about
honestly is somewhere where we actually did talk about.
Yeah, we did. That was definitely on the list.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Just trying to, somewhere that, if you guys would be willing to travel,
I don't know if there's a lot of creepy places. Forget it. I don't like Ohio. Scratching. Sorry for people who live in Ohio.
I think Ohio's kind of too far over.
There's a lot of things that go on. There's a lot of things that go on in Ohio. They have all kinds of stuff.
I'm not an Ohio fan anyway.
Right. But I mean, for us in Missouri, we don't have any big conferences or anything in Missouri.
You guys don't have one in the Ozarks?
There's a small one that goes on in the Ozarks, but it's not very big.
Is there anything around the Ozarks where we could all hang out? People could hang out?
There is something that goes on there. So we're going to kind of stay out of that area.
Oh, okay, good.
I mean, like I said, we're not going to step on anybody's toes or anything over there. So, but I mean, we're sitting there. We're right along, of course, Kansas, Utah, Oklahoma. We're all over there in that area, which there is a lot of stuff that happens over there.
Utah.
Not Utah. Sorry, Iowa. Sorry. Okay. I don't know why I said Utah. Maybe I need a salt lick.
Well, because Utah is actually full of high strangeness too, though.
That it is.
People are saying Kansas is supposed to be the geographic center of the U.S.
Really?
Lebanon, Kansas.
Okay.
Well, if we have it on the Missouri side, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, people are saying Lake of the Ozarks. Ooh, that'd be a good spot. Huh, Brandy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lots of woods around there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, just stay tuned, everybody. And we're kind of talking amongst ourselves and talk to a few people and speakers and kind of thought about keeping it, doing the cryptid thing too, but throwing a little UFO and some ghost type speakers.
Yeah.
Well.
Right.
We were talking. Yeah. Great point to everybody. We would like, since we talk about everything on the channels anyway, if we did a conference that was cryptid, Bigfoot, Dogman, some UFO, some aliens, some haunted. So just have like a couple speakers from every category come on in. So it'd be like a mega conference of all sorts of the stuff we talk about because we just
stuff
don't
for
talk
everybody.
Cryptids. We just don't talk cryptids.
We already have.
I know you don't. I wouldn't mention that yet, but you got some heavy hitters you can get.
We do.
Yes, you have got some heavy hitters. I might even get the haunted housewives. They seem to take a lot to my fancy. They like me.
There you go.
And we are, ladies and gentlemen, we're having the haunted housewives on the show in the very near future. So you need to tune in and watch them.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be guest.
I'm sure Rob will be there. Rob will be there. He'll be the special host.
They were on with me and Chris, I think, like 3 months ago, by the way. So it's in the archives. It's for free. Go check it out.
Who's that?
Me and you, Krista.
I know, but who was on with us? We've had a lot.
Haunted
The Haunted
Housewives. They're
Housewives.
on with us.
Oh, they're coming on here in August.
Awesome. I'm glad. So I'll wait till fall to have them on Christmas
Right.
time.
And I don't want anybody to forget, as long as we're talking about events, that July 13th at Malvern Manor, Blondes and Booze is holding another ghost hunt event, which is going to be fantastic. Of course, Josh Hurd, the best investigator and owner of Malvern Manor, will be with us that evening. We'll probably be going live, doing all kinds of experiments, different things going on there. We will show up there. We're going to feed you again at this event. It's going to be tacos. Yeah, we're going to have a taco bar, and then we're going to ghost hunt for the rest of the night. So if you are interested in this event, go to Blondes and Booze on Eventbrite, and it should be the first event that pops up.
Yes, absolutely. It is. Also, want to remind everybody, when this show gets over, turn into Paranormal Roundtable. They'll be going on live tonight. Also, tomorrow night, Paranormal Paul. Unfortunately, I am going to visit family tomorrow night, so I won't be able to be on.
You don't have to say unfortunately. I mean, it's good.
Well, I know, but I won't be on. Is what I'm saying. And same with Rob's show. You start tomorrow night at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
And I won't be on that one either, but I believe Brandy will. So
Brandy's confirmed. I think Texas confirmed. I think
I am confirmed for late Saturday night.
And I think Monica might be confirmed as well. And we're going to be talking about a little more Dogman and some aliens. And we might even mix in Dogman abducted by aliens. Yes. It's supposed to be a lot of cool stuff tomorrow night at midnight, 11 Central. Yeah. And of course, Paranormal Paul. And
Paranormal Paul comes on at 7 p.m. Central.
Yeah, go check him out too.
Awesome.
And then I think at like 8 o'clock, I believe, PRT comes on again.
Yeah.
At 8.
They're on Rumble, or are they coming on YouTube?
I'm not sure. Sometimes he does either or, so I'm not really too sure. So.
Well, just keep your eyes open, everybody.
Yep. Lots of good things to watch. Appreciate everybody tuning in.
Yes, and, awesome.
Listening to us. And real quick, I want to thank Justin, Chaz B, Justin again, Keith from 1675, and Mark Z. Hammer. Thank you all very much. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you so much.
For sure.
Awesome show.
Yeah. Anyway, tune in to everybody tomorrow night and go over to see a Paranormal Roundtable tonight.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.